welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. We are going to talk about a lot of stuff today. We do have to talk about Jamaal Bowman. He's a representative out of New York. He tried to stop voting proceedings in the Capitol. He tried to hold up the voting proceedings. I guess he didn't want the Republicans to read their bill of what they propose. And the Democrats had their bill on the floor. I guess everybody wasn't there in enough time. So he tried to hold up the proceedings and he decided to pull the fire alarm. Okay, so we're going to discuss that. We also have some other things that I wanted to discuss that I didn't get to last night because my stream was rudely interrupted. You probably was wondering like what the hell is going on if you tuned in last night. I don't know. I think it was something wrong with the system that I use. Anywho, so we're going to discuss some other things or some other topics that's going on in the news. But first, let's get to Jamaal Bowman. Okay, Jamaal Bowman. He's a Democrat. He's a Democrat. He's a representative out of New York. And I don't know. This kind of stuff, like, are you in high school? Like, what the hell is going on? What is going on? Why would you try to pull something like that in the Capitol? I mean, and other Democrats or other Republicans are calling for him to get expelled and charged with a felony because they're comparing his actions to the protesters on January the 6th. Now you be the judge. He was actively trying to interrupt into voting proceedings. It's the same damn thing. I mean, I don't know what if we're gonna set a bar, we gotta set a bar for everybody. You can't just say, oh, he made a mistake. But that's what he's saying. He's saying he made a mistake. So this is I guess after he came out of whatever the proceedings, he had an interaction.
More guns lead to more death.
With somebody else. I don't know. But he's saying more guns lead to more guns. It's like, okay.
Allows teachers to carry.
What are you talking about?
Carry guns,
would you
more guns lead
co-sponsor?
to more death.
Would you co-sponsor
More
that bill?
guns lead to more death.
Would you co-sponsor
Look at
that
the
bill?
data. You're not looking at any data.
The
You're
the
carrying
data.
the water for the gun lobby.
No.
Look
this
at the
is-
data.
I'm
More
carrying
guns
for
lead
the
to more
kids,
deaths.
for the kids.
States that have open carry laws have more deaths.
In every school that
States
allows
that have
carry,
open
there's
carry
never been a
laws
shooting.
have more deaths.
There's never been a shooting.
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah, calm down.
Calm down. Children are dying.
I know, I've got a
9-year-old
solution.
children.
I've got a
The solution is not arming teachers.
That's
Have you ever
worked in
worked in a
every
school?
school. In
Have
every
you
school
ever
that's
worked in a
surrounded-
school?
In every
Have you ever worked in a school?
allows teachers to carry.
Well, I guess this is a bill that they're talking about. But this is Jamaal Bowman. This is the guy that we're dealing with. Um, I wouldn't disagree with him. I remember they were proposing kids, or I guess teachers, to carry guns in school, and I was like, okay, that's ludicrous. Can you imagine the teacher getting mad at you and shooting the kid? Like, oh, and then these kids now, they kind of tip you like, you ain't my kid, so I'm gonna shoot you. But anyway, that's besides the point. Let me just pull up the actual report. Okay, so this is from the Hill. And of course, you have Democrats are coming to his defense. But it says Representative Jamaal Bowman pulled the fire alarm in the Cannon House office building on Saturday ahead of the House passing a stopgap measure to fund the government ahead of the midnight deadline. Now, they did end up passing a stopgap bill, a 45-day stopgap bill. Right now, they're voting it on the Senate floor. So I don't know if it's going to pass because this is the Democrat bill that they propose. So anyway, so it caused the building to be evacuated. Republicans accusing Bowman of intentionally trying to sabotage the vote, launching an investigation into the incident, and preparing legislation to expel him from the House. Bowman claims that it was an accident. Do you guys believe that? Congressman Bowman did not realize he would trigger the building alarm as he was rushing to make an urgent vote. But you guys saw my thumbnail. They got him on security camera. Literally, a fire alarm is red. And it's next to, in the hallway, but this was next to like some door. But it's literally red. It says fire alarm. Doesn't it? Doesn't it say fire alarm on this? All the fire alarms that you've seen in the past, isn't it red and doesn't it say fire alarm? Okay, so he's claiming it was an accident. Bowman's spokesperson said in the statement to The Hill, the congressman regrets any confusion. Yeah, right, Bowman. I get you guys on Instagram as well, so thank you for tuning in. Yeah, right. You think we wasn't born yesterday. When you try to get out of stuff at school, that was the classic thing to do. You trying to get out of school, what do? Pull the fire alarm. You pull the fire alarm. Bowman later said that he thought pulling the alarm would open the door. Okay, really? House Administration Committee Chairman Brian Steele said he will launch an investigation into the incident, saying that the committee has video of the incident. Capitol Police are also investigating the incident, saying in a statement that the alarm was pulled at 12:05 p.m. on the second floor of the Cannon building. Okay, so he's just pulling alarms everywhere. But the House Republican Conference, Elise Stefanik, mentioned that the fire alarm pulled in the press conference, saying that the stopgap passed despite other House Democrats' attempts to delay, to obstruct, to even pull a fire alarm to stop the important vote from happening. And McCarthy is saying this is serious, saying he will talk to the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries about the incident. This should not go without punishment. But peep what Jeffrey says. Jeffrey, he did respond. Hakeem Jeffrey. This is his response to the whole incident. It's only 15 seconds, but we're going to watch it anyway.
And what are the next steps here? Are you concerned about the accusation that Congressman Jamaal Bowman is accused of pulling a fire alarm in a congressional office building? And what are the next steps here?
I haven't seen the video. Until I see the video, I'll have no further comment.
Are you
So he hasn't seen the video. Until he see the video, he has no further comment. So this is going to be, don't be surprised if they try to like, oh, it's not a big deal, it was a mistake. But I'm wondering, how can you make a mistake from the fire alarm to like, oh, press this button. You know how they have the handicap button? It literally says handicap and it's a circle and it's press. You don't have to pull because you may be handicapped. It's harder to pull than to press. So what are we saying here? Now this is Marjorie Taylor Greene about the whole incident.
Yet, but I'm going to be demanding it. I want to talk about Jamaal Bowman pulling the fire alarm. Capitol Police are questioning him right now because it's on video that he violated the exact same law that January 6th defendants are being prosecuted for every single day. He violated the exact same law, interrupting an official proceeding. And by pulling a fire alarm, it's on video, and the Capitol Police have the information.
Did you see?
This is outrageous. They have it on video.
Have you seen the video?
I haven't seen the video yet, but I'm going to be demanding it. I'm demanding that the Department of Justice prosecute him the same way they prosecuted January 6th defendants. It's the exact same law. Exact same law. This is outrageous. He's a Democrat representative. Here's what happened. Catherine Clark, the whip, called the motion to adjourn, and within, I don't know, a few minutes, it was literally right after that, Jamaal Bowman pulls a fire alarm while the vote was happening. You guys, this is unprecedented. The Democrats will do anything to make sure it's shut down because billions of dollars are not going to their favorite country, Ukraine. I mean, you guys really, so Olivia Beavers has tweeted it. This is the law. This is the law. Otherwise obstructs, influences, or impedes any official proceeding or attempts to do so shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. This is Bowman pulling the fire to make sure it's shut down because billions of dollars are not going to their favorite country, Ukraine. I mean, you guys really, so Olivia Beavers has tweeted it. This is the law. This is the law. Otherwise obstructs, influences, or impedes any official proceeding or attempts to do so shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. This is the law that January 6th defendants are being locked up, they're rotting in jail, and they're being prosecuted every single day. Non-violent offenders are being put in jail for this.
You took a video over there. Did you happen to catch like a part of it, or I saw you posted a video on Twitter? Did you catch a part of it?
Look, it's being reported everywhere. You can ask go ask the Capitol Police about it. I'm demanding the video. House admin has already reported it. They have seen the video. It's just unbelievable. He's a representative breaking the law. No, I want to talk about Jamaal Bowman pulling the fire alarm.
If we really go tit for tat, if we look at if it's the same law that he violated as the same as the January 6th Capitol, I guess, insurrectionists, that's what they call them. He should be punished just like the January 6th people. You know, some of those guys, and these were non-violent offenders, and some of these guys they got 20 years in jail for protesting. So if we're setting standards and he violated the same law, I mean, he's not above the law because he's a representative. And by the way, she's saying that they did not get any funding to Ukraine, but yesterday they did pass a bill in the House to fund Ukraine $300 million more. That's what I didn't get to yesterday. They did pass a bill in the House to fund Ukraine $300 million more. So it's not in this bill, but it was in a separate bill. I don't think she voted yes on it, but it went to the Senate. So I don't know when they're supposed to vote on that bill, or so anyway. So Representative Bowman, he should be charged charged with the felony, I believe he should be expelled. Because you can't say, hey, these people that violated this law or whatever on January the 6th, throw the book at these guys and you don't do the same for him. Okay. So, speaking of voting, Byron Donalds is getting served on the internet. Byron Donalds, you gotta love him. He's a representative out of Florida. He's a Republican out of Florida. He put on his tweet, today voting closed before I could cast my no vote. I do not support today's flawed CR, which continues Pelosi's reckless spending, fails to secure our border, and pushes us closer to a fiscal brink. Instead, I offer a conservative alternative, which would have slashed agency spending by 29% and secure our border. Okay. And so this is the response. Byron, you are one of the few legislators I thought we could count on. Unless someone was dying, you have no excuse. We have little, if any, trust left. Do better. Trish, it's your job to be there to vote. That's the job. Somebody tweeted, where were you? Somebody else said, you are very disappointing. How convenient, late, kind of like my dog ate my homework. Somebody else tweeted, said, what is your excuse for not voting? Where were you? What the hell? It's your job to cast a vote. Somebody put, why weren't you there? Donor lunch went wrong or went long? Wow, kind of important vote to run late on. So, and you know, some people saying you're such a disappointment. Not a good look to not actually vote. Somebody even put pathetic traitor. Another tweet said, you had one job. You had one job to do and you didn't even do it. You came to vote and you didn't even vote. What was you doing? Anyway, so they voted without him. They voted without him and it passed. It passed and they're voting it right now as we speak on the Senate. And it looks like it's going to pass on the Senate during session right now. 45-day government funding disaster aid. Yes, 88. No, I think that's a 9. You know, yeah, 88, 9. So what is it, like 111 or 100 and it's 100, right? 100 senators. Or is it 102? Anyway, so they're going to avoid the shutdown for 45 days. They got a 45-day extension. Now, what's in the bill? Don't know, but it's a 45-day extension. Now, remember I told you, let me get to some of your quotes. CJ said, that's crazy. Joe Schmo said, charges should be brought and taken to jail. Yeah, you know what? He should. You can't say, oh, these insurrectionists, it's a threat to our democracy. And you're the actual threat to the democracy. You're hired to do one job, is to defend the American people. And you're trying to sabotage the American people. Allen says not only do they have him for a false alarm, now he's got lying to deal with also. Yeah, because he's a liar. I mean, how can you say, "Oh, I thought I opened the door," and it says fire alarm on the thing? We would be in jail if we did that. Hey, if you're a Trump supporter, you definitely would be in jail. They would have came and locked you up right away. Oh, he's a Trump supporter. He's a Republican. Lock him up. What Biden called Republicans MAGA extremists yesterday. MAGA extremists, you would have been locked up. They would have locked you up. They wouldn't even, you're guilty until proven is innocent. James said, put him in prison. The same law that prosecute J6, he broke the same law. Yep, that's what they're saying. Alan says Bowman is a communist Democrat. I would be shocked if he is held accountable. He's not going to be held accountable. I don't think so. They're going to sweep it under the rug. Oh, he made a mistake. Oh, he can't read. That's a good. Oh, he can't read. Then how the hell he get to Congress? Oh, he didn't have his glasses in. I'm giving him like good excuses. He didn't have his glasses. He normally wears contacts, but he couldn't wear his contacts that day. He wears glass. He had his glasses on, but he left them at his chair. So when he tried to exit, he made a mistake. Bowman didn't get his kill Whitney. Oh, kill Whitey amendment passed. Kill Whitey. Stop it, you guys. Bowman, you saying he's a communist? Bowman is the only communist when it deals with other people's money. Exactly. He put on a tweet. This is crazy, you guys. Speaking of Bowman. You remember? Okay, so this is like last night. We didn't get to this. Let me just pull it up real quick. So Bowman, he's from New York. In New York, New York is flooding because they had some crazy rain. They had some crazy rain in New York. And of course, extreme liberals think it's global warming had to do with the flooding. It's like, no, how about your sewer system is not capable to handle that amount of rain? Just logical reasons. I mean, what is wrong with saying, hey, our sewer system normally doesn't get this amount of rainfall? They automatically contributed to global warming. So you had people in New York City stranded. In Brooklyn, you had some people in Brooklyn, and I don't know why this guy is carrying a man across. Like, you can't carry yourself. Like, this is a grown man. A grown man can't walk in water, like waist deep water. Or maybe he can't swim. Maybe he was afraid. Okay, let me just stop it. But this is the rain coming through the sewer system, and you got the subways being flooded. It says New York City's infrastructure is engineered to manage approximately 1.75 inches of fall rain per hour. Yesterday, rainfall measured around 2 inches on average. It's astonishing how even just a quarter an inch increased the strain most of the system's capabilities. This is my first time reading this. I just said this. Okay, I just exactly said this. But you have AOC, the guy from that we just talked about, Jamaal Bowman, saying, "Hey, climate change is." Look at these people. Hazma Khan, climate change is real. No, it's rain. You have weather. See, what happens is when you get clouds produce, it produces precipitation. Then precipitation ends up bursting a cloud and you get some rain. Sometimes you get a lot of rain, sometimes you get a little rain. Now, if they were saying, oh, we've been having rain for the last 200 days. And when it should be snowing and it's been raining for the last 200 days. Okay, then we could say, okay, maybe that's something to investigate. But you get a lot of rain for a couple of days, more than what the system is capable of handling, then you get this because your system can only handle this amount and you got this amount. You can't handle the difference. So the difference is on the streets. I mean, I'm just speaking layman's term. I'm not talking about you guys, but these people on the internet, they're saying climate change because they got a lot of rain. That's just, to me, it's just really ridiculous. Now, should New York redesign their infrastructure to handle the capacity of rain? They said they get this every year. Every year this happens. So if every year this happens, why would New York spend the money and put something in the system to relieve that bottleneck when you get torrential rainfall? But they spend their money on immigrants and all that stuff. So that's New York. Let me see if I can find AOC tweet because her tweet was crazy. And this was old. Anyway, I'm not gonna spend time looking for that. If I find it, I'll pull it up. Okay, so you guys, the rainfall in New York is happening. Now we have let's see my other story. This is really cringe. Now, this is from Our Voices Matter. And the tweet says, if people haven't realized yet, America's military strength makes it impervious to external threats. What Biden is doing is causing internal turmoil. The World Economic Forum agenda requires America's sidelining And this appears to be more than just immigration. It's nothing short of an invasion. So you have these crazy nut jobs singing to Joe Biden. And look what they're singing. Joe Biden, Biden's back alright. Look at these people. Like, this guy looks kind of slow though. He like, yeah, I'm here for it. Joe Biden, yeah. Joe Biden, yeah. Like, are you serious? Does anybody want to join this choir? Put it in the chat. I want to be a part of this choir. And Joe Biden's like, oh yeah, people love me. Like, no, you got the weirdest people saying Joe Biden. Like, it's like, ew, Joe Biden. Like, what is going on here? But they're saying like, and Joe Biden, he gave a speech condemning. He was condemning Trump's words. Because, you know, Trump, he came out against Milley yesterday and said he should be put to death or whatever for treason. I guess he got some questionable relationships with China. So that's what Trump was saying. Oh, he should be put to death and charged with treason and put to death. And you know, Milley retired yesterday. I think this is where our stream cut off yesterday, so I'm going to play it.
The silence is deafening. And yet here is what you hear from MAGA extremists about the retiring Patriot General honoring his oath to the Constitution. Quote, he's a traitor, end of quote. In times gone by, the punishment, quote, in times gone by, the punishment would have been death, end of quote. This is the United States of America. This is the United States of America. And although I don't believe even a majority of Republicans think that, the silence is deafening. The silence is deafening. Hardly any Republican called out such heinous statements. Just as they watched one MAGA senator outrageously said blocking the promotions of hundreds of top military leaders and affecting not only those leaders but their families, their children. MAGA extremists claim support of our troops, but they're harming military readiness, leadership, troop morale, freezing pay, freezing military families in limbo. Just as they looked the other way when the defeated former president refused to pay respects in an American cemetery near Paris, referring to the American servicemen buried there, and I've been to the cemetery, as suckers and losers. Quotes. I'm not making this up. I know we all tried not to remember it, but that's what he said. He called servicemen suckers and losers. Was John a sucker? Was my son Bo, who lived next to a burn pit for a year and came home and died, was he a sucker for volunteering to serve his country? The same guy who denigrates the heroism of John McCain. It's not only wrong, it's un-American. But it never changes. The MAGA extremists across the country have made it clear where they stand. So the challenge for the rest of America for the majority of Americans to make clear where we stand. Do we still believe in the Constitution? Do we believe in the basic decency and respect? The whole country should honestly ask itself, and I mean it sincerely, what it wants.
So that's Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump, but Joe Biden calling everyone that follows or support Donald Trump extremists. Now, you got like half of the country supporting Donald Trump. I mean, the latest polls, like for the Republican Party, the latest polls saying that Donald Trump, he literally has a 40-point lead over Ron DeSantis. So you have to wonder, you're literally calling half of the nation extremists. To me, that's divisiveness in itself. You can't, and if you're a president, you can't just say, I'm the president of these people, these type of people. You got to be the president for everybody. Everybody's not going to have the same view as you, but you're supposed to work for the better of the good for everybody in America. And you're not. You're not. All your decisions that you're making is not for the betterment of Americans, especially with this Ukraine crap. Now, I told you Ukraine was Ukraine, they just sent $300 million to Ukraine, or they approved the bill in the House. Now, the bill that they just passed, let me just show you this. Now, remember, Zelensky was at the Capitol, and McCarthy shut him down. He said, we don't have time for you to be begging. We don't have time for this. But they still passed a bill funding Ukraine $300 million. It says it's not about some kind of weapon or some money. It's not about it because we will have some help. Okay, so then why are you over here? But this is what Zelensky said. But in 2 or 3 months, if we will lose some support, it means that we can lose to war. Okay. Zelensky appearance seemed to make a difference with the GOP leaders, particularly in the Senate, which is moving forward to the stopgap measures, which includes $6.15 billion in support for Ukraine, despite the vocal opposition to Senator Rand Paul. I don't know if that bill was, this was today. If we had a clean one without Ukraine on it, we could probably be able to move through. I think the Senate puts Ukraine on there and focus Ukraine over America, and I think it could cause real problems. Thursday night, more than half of Republicans voted against the $300 million aid to Ukraine, but the aid did pass 311 to 117. McCarthy at the last minute stripped the aid from the defense bill, and the provisions had been included since 2016, so it could pass on the GOP only vote while pushing through the Ukraine funding separately on the back of Democrats. So they did vote $300 million Thursday. I don't know if it's going to be passed through the Senate. Probably will, because Most of the Senate Republicans believe that they should be funding Ukraine. Now, about this other bill, this stopgap bill, they're saying that they're saying that you strip the Ukraine aid from the temporary bill. It says Congress on Saturday blocked the new aid for Ukraine in its government spending deal and rebuked Kiev from geopolitical reverberations that came despite a concerted lobbying push from senior Biden officials and the highest ranking GOP senator. They needed $20 billion. They needed $20 billion. They roughly, but it says, in the aid of fight of Russia, Kevin McCarthy stripped all funds from the U.S. ally from the government spending bill under the immense pressure of the GOP caucus that has increasingly turned against Biden handling another war. The Senate had advanced a bipartisan bill to send roughly $6 billion to Ukraine, but Democrats, wary of being blamed for the government shutdown, approved the House version with only hours to go before federal appropriations expired. The rejection of money 9 days after Ukrainian President Zelensky flew to Washington and pleaded with the lawmakers to maintain their support reflects hardening GOP oppositions to helping Ukraine and will send immediate shockwaves through European capitals and the governments of Kiev. Okay, you have other support. So it sounds like they're still sending $6 billion. Democrat lawmakers fumed at the outcome, particularly because Senate Republicans support $6 billion in aid. I can't believe people are going to walk away from Ukraine at this moment. I mean, you got all these people coming over here because of the non-border, and you mad because we only sent $6 billion to Ukraine. And you're not even aiding some of these, what is it called? Sanctuary cities are begging the government to send aid to them. And they haven't. But you keep on sending people up there because they're sanctuary cities. I mean, they're own engineered problem, but come on now. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So, of course, Zelensky is probably going to be crying. The GOP leader had called the White House National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, on September the 22nd to let him know that the administration full $20.6 billion request for Ukraine was too much to ask for on a 6-week stopgap spending bill. He asked for $20 billion. and the government is shutting down. We can't even fund our own government, and we funding this Ukraine war. And they keep on calling Ukraine an ally, and they've never been a part of NATO. And you think President Biden would be better at negotiation to stop the war? They shouldn't even been in the war. Hey, if you want to be an ally, why didn't you bring these two parties together and negotiate something, some type of peace treaty deal? But you rather fund a war than negotiate peace. And reason why they don't want Putin to talk, remember they stopped Tucker Carlson from interviewing Putin because Putin probably has something to say. Putin probably like, oh yeah, I was willing to talk. I was willing to negotiate. But they didn't want to come to the table. I'm pretty sure that's what he's going to say. But we would never hear that because we have the government stopping a journalist from doing journalism things. Your government, our government. So we would rather fund this war and increase our debt ceiling to $40 trillion. When you balance now, this I've never been ahead of or in charge of a $40 trillion budget or $1 billion budget, but it doesn't matter. I know I have a certain amount of money in my household that comes in my household. If I spend over that amount, I'm borrowing from like my credit cards or something. When would I say, okay, let's stop borrowing because we're not making enough money. We need to decrease our debt. So in order to decrease our debt, we need to decrease our spending. So usually the first things to go in decreasing the spending is stuff that doesn't add value to us, stuff that we don't need, unnecessary stuff. Like the Ukraine war, like the Ukraine war in our open border policy. We don't have a slush fund. We not printing money out the wazoo or whatever. We're not making enough money. Now, and this is why, okay, you guys listen to this. You know, they just funded last year, they just funded $80 billion to the IRS. One was for their capabilities, like their technology and software capabilities. They're trying to build a new infrastructure thing. Another one is to hire more agents so they could collect from you. They're saying, oh, we're going to tax the elitists. No, they get more money from just people, normal people like us. So you'll find more increase with audits. IRS is probably going to start mailing you letters saying, hey, back in 2004, you didn't pay your taxes or you didn't pay enough taxes. You know, they get 10 years, right? So maybe 2014. I don't know. How long does the government get? Like forever to tell you that you owe them money? So that's why they increase the government IRS to collect money from you. But they still want to fund this Ukraine war. Like, you want more taxes from me so you could shell out money to this war, and you could shell out money to illegal residents or illegal aliens. They're not even residents. Illegal aliens that come over here illegal, not even through the proper channel. Anyway, done with my rant. It looks like they passed the spending bill. Senate passed the 45-day spending bill averting government shutdown, goes to the White House. Okay? So that's what happened while I was talking. You guys let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Robert Jordan, you're using common sense. Most politicians have no common sense. Thank you. Herbicide said instead of paying Zelensky, they should be finishing the border wall before the Democrats sell off all the construction materials bought for its completion. They don't want to finish the border wall. They don't want to finish it. Now, this is Democrat and Republicans. Republicans, I mean, even with this spending bill that's past the 45 days, you think they will put in the legislation to address the border concerns? Hey, you giving money to Ukraine? We know we need to address these border concerns. Okay. What is it? Quid pro quo? You giving money to Ukraine? We either we give money to Ukraine and stop the border, ship these people back that's not supposed to be here. Or if we're gonna open our borders up, which is already up, we're not giving money to Ukraine. That's what needs to happen. But no, they're letting everything just, oh, we can't agree. It's the Democrat fault. No, it's the Republican fault. No, it's both of you guys' fault. Hanging XZ said U.S. should be suing Russia for peace, no negotiation. Armed agents, even, Mrs. Burns. You're talking about the IRS? IRS kids with guns to collect your tax. I think they do have guns. So you got some of them. Like, where your taxes at? Just like the what was the Denzel Washington when he was the bad cop? That's the only role he played in. I think he got a Emmy for that role. The only role he played a bad person in. And he was robbing drug dealers. Talking about King Kong don't got nothing on him. That's the IRS agent. They gonna come in busting in where my money at. That's crazy. I didn't know that IRS was given at least $2 million towards purchase of weapons and ammunition. They gonna be around here popping. They gonna be popping people for their money. But usually, I guess if it's like, if you're investigating somebody's taxes, and if it's like a criminal enterprise, maybe you will have to arm yourself. Maybe they probably need to be some type of military train or whatever. FBI originally was made up of armed accountants and lawyers, and look where we are now. The lady that's over the budget committee. Let me show you guys her. She was crying because, they want to stop and 12,000 FBI agents won't be able to work. Do we really need them? Like, what are they doing? What are the 12,000 FBI agents doing? I mean, I know some of them are investigating into like kidnappings. You got trafficking, probably into the police, maybe. But she was like really crying. This lady right here. She's the OMB director, Young, on possible government shutdown. Republicans' bill would eliminate 12,000 FBI agents, almost 1,000 ATF agents. Why do you need more ATF agents? I mean, okay. If you go on YouTube onto the shorts and type in like Chicago streets or something like that, I think it's Chicago streets, you'll come across these videos where guys, even some girls, they got some females on there. They got ARs. And matter of fact, it's a gang that's called AR something another. And they got these extended clips talking to whoever the interviewer is. They all got masks on. Some of them don't even have any masks on. So we still are getting guns into our streets. Are you trying to track the legal guns that's out there and to make sure, like, you know, the gun owner or the gun shops are doing their paperwork? Or is the ATF job is to track stolen weapons that's been put out on the street or imported into the U.S. and put out on the street? I have my own theory about that. I think the government is actually putting these weapons out onto the street. Because I can't imagine kids getting hand of these type of weapons. And number one, where they get the money from? Okay, you could say, oh, they selling drugs. Okay, well, then where they getting the drugs from? Somebody's supplying something. You got the suppliers. Okay, where's the suppliers getting the supply from? Who's his connection? It has to be the government. Anyway. So this is her. So she is saying this devastating cuts. We're running in the red, so we have to cut something. And we don't need a big government. So we have to cut something. I think Congress, everybody should get a pay cut. All the Congress, you not passing the bill, you're not doing the job. I think they should make a requirement. If you're not being fiscally responsible, you should get a pay cut. If the government shuts down, everybody doesn't get paid. You're talking about the military men not getting paid. No, the military men has to do their job. They still got to do. So why should they take the pay cut? You should take the pay cut because you're responsible for the budget. So yes, so she was upset about that. She wanted more money. Okay. Now we're gonna get to some of our ratchet stories. Okay, Deja Meatball Blackwell. She's out of jail, you guys. Deja Meatball is out of jail, and the news caught up to her. her mama came up and said, "Why are you talking to the news?" But she seemed like she's apologetic. Now, Deja is only 21. This is the young lady that incited, well, she has 180,000 followers on her Instagram. And I guess she told people to meet her on the block where, you know, all these stores was at. Lululemon, Nike. They had a liquor store, some other store, high-end store. But they met her out there and they just started looting. And she on the gram talking about everybody got to eat, and they breaking into the liquor store. So they arrested her and she was crying, saying, "Boo-hoo. Why you arrested me? I didn't do nothing." So now she regrets everything she did. This is her. She's only 21. Now you tell me she ain't just sitting around the house drinking liquor and smoking weed. That's number one. That's one of her main problems. You just sitting around the house smoking weed and getting high all day. Because at 21, you shouldn't be looking like this. You looking like somebody's grandma. She's 21. I don't think she got any kids, but this is what she looks like. The experience of her getting arrested left her traumatized.
To Blackwell's home today after she agreed for us to meet her there. Our attempts to speak with her about her actions Tuesday night and what's happened since then were cut short by her mom. Blackwell's mom did not want her speaking with reporters, but the woman known as Meatball did have something to say before going back inside her home. Do you have a message for people?
I just prefer, never loot again, stay out of trouble, and never go to jail.
So you regret what happened?
I regret it.
I mean, you looking like you only 21 and you look like you just sitting around the house smoking weed all day. You don't got nothing. You just on the internet. No type of life. I don't know if she works. Doesn't look like it. But this is what you look like. This doesn't make any sense. And you're 21. And you can't tell me she don't smoke or smoke weed. Because her face looks like she smokes. But now you're saying you're traumatized. You're traumatized
And said the
because
experience
you got caught and you got arrested and you never been arrested before. You thought it was a game. But the people, those store owners, they should be traumatized. Because people came in their stores and just tore up some shit.
left her scared and traumatized. Blackwell is due back in court October 17th.
You got to take responsibility for your actions. Would she get charged with something? I don't know. I don't know how their justice system is made up in New York. I mean, Philly. Come on now. She was arrested and let go the very next day. So would she actually get charged with something? We don't know. I'm going to go to her. Okay, it says she this is her. It says influencer Meatball charged in Philly looting loves her mugshot. So she didn't learn her damn lesson. Oh, I love my mugshot. If you got arrested and had a mugshot released in the public, an incident of national embarrassment for Philadelphia, you probably turn off your phone, lock yourself in a room, and binge watch some really dark Swedish true crime drama for a few days. I'm guessing you'll open your front door only to pick up your food left on the stoop by Uber Eats. But you're not Meatball. Meatball is just the weirdest name. Why would you let somebody name you that? Meatball, you need to stop leading a productive life of contributing to society and spend more time on TikTok and Instagram watching Philly. People do silly things. Meatball is, as they say these days, an influencer with thousands, hundreds and thousands of followers on the two platforms. Of course, Meatball wasn't born Meatball. She was born Deja Blackwell. So they charged her with, this is from the district attorney, Larry Krasner, has charged a 21-year-old woman with criminal conspiracy, burglary, and criminal trespass, criminal mischief, riot, and other offenses. It appears to be the heftiest case filed thus far in a Philadelphia looting, and she could face some serious jail time if convicted. The court was holding Meatball on a $25,000 bond or bail, which somebody appears to have posted it earlier morning hours Thursday, according to the court documents. Now, if she has, if she makes money off her Instagram and social media, she probably had that money. That probably wasn't nothing to her. Which somebody appears to have posted in the early morning hours on Thursdays, according to the court documents. And Meatball didn't waste any time to getting back to being Meatball. Her first order of business was posting her mugshot to her Instagram page. Within 5 hours, she was already having up to over 11,000 likes. That's why she doesn't. She's not gonna. She'll be in jail again. Let's put it that way. She hasn't learned from her mistakes. She's not ashamed, because if you was ashamed, you wouldn't put that on Instagram, Facebook, no social media. I told you that story when I picked up my husband, or my boyfriend at the time. He got arrested. I went to go bond him out. I had to be like 18, 19. I bond him out. They had some traffic charges on me, and I guess I had a bench warrant for my arrest. And I went to go bond him out. You know how they run your name, whoever bonding them out, you got to sign paperwork or whatever. And as soon as I got in the car, the police pulled up behind me and arrested me. I was like, oh, hell no. I'm innocent. And I was so embarrassed. It's so embarrassed. I'm thinking I'm like, on the straight and narrow, and I'm getting locked up in jail. And he had to buy me out. It's so embarrassing. And this wasn't like the same thing that she experienced, way less trouble. But it's like really embarrassed when they put, woo, where's your license and registration, ma'am? They run your name. Oh, we have a warrant. And I told the guy, I was like, I was just in the police department. I just picked him up. And that's what I said. I just picked him up. And it was like, well, we ran your name. Put your hands behind your back. I was like, no. And I was crying. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. So I was, hanging AC. I was riding dirty. I was riding dirty. So I was like super embarrassed. But like I said, she hasn't learned. She's 21 and she's posting like, oh, look at my mug shot. Like, I'm a thug. Like, and you think that's cute. People do some crazy things to get famous on Instagram. It's like, you doing it all because of your fans? Really? So when listen to this. So when she's not in the middle of a widespread Philadelphia loot, Meatball has an OnlyFans account. I opt not to pay the $25 to find out what was on there, as she is also CEO of her own apparel company, Ain't Nothing. Oh, that's why she said nothing, which sells beanies, t-shirts, and read well. Ain't nothing. And now all the kids in the hood, oh, I want that. Ain't nothing. We glorifying this deviant shit. If I were a betting man, I'd place a fair wager that Meatball is going to take a page out of the book of Donald Trump and will soon be selling hats and t-shirts of her mugshot. And I bet she sell out of them. I reached out to Meatball for comment, but she has not yet got back to me. So much for the mutter, whatever. I don't know what that means. Anyway, this is going to some other story. But yeah, Meatball, she has not learned her lesson. This is her Instagram page. She probably got more followers from being in jail. Look at her. I told you she smoked weed. I told you guys she smoked weed.
$50, my price gonna stay the same, ain't nothing. See, that's your problem. Y'all worrying about the boots that's on my feet. Y'all need to be worrying about the beanies for sale. $50, my price gonna stay the same, ain't nothing.
Ain't nothing. So this is Meatball. Okay.
Look who I see, y'all.
Listen, we out here because it ain't nothing. It never was nothing, never will be nothing. Shout out to my girl Meatball, you know what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing.
Ain't nothing. Make sure y'all cop the beanies, the shirt.
A beanie's for $50. They got the wrong spelling on them. Type in the chat. Put a one in the chat. You want a beanie for $50. A hat for $50. A hat for $50 that got nothing on it. Nothing. And she got all the kids in the hood.
I'm trying to say thanks to Meatball.
Thanks to Meatball.
Y'all welcome and y'all be good in school, you understand?
Yeah.
Period. Ain't nothing. I'm trying to say thanks to me, boy.
Thanks to me.
Well, the kids like her. They're like, thanks to me, Bob. Ain't nothing. I wonder if she had this on when she was meeting the kids, showing her shirt, her belly. Maybe that's what she put on Instagram. Look how dirty this bath water is, you guys.
Y'all worried about the bathwater? You need to be worried about the beanies. $50 ain't nothing. The price gonna stay the same. Y'all worried about the bathwater? You need to be worried about the beanies. $50 ain't nothing. The price gonna stay the same. Y'all worried about the bathwater? You need to be worried about the beanies.
Why is that bath water so dirty, though? That's questionable. Fellas. That bath water, you know how a man say, "Oh, girl, I drink your bath water." You drink that bath water. That bath water, woo, I don't know. Ain't nothing. That's something in that water. Ain't nothing. What the hell? That is not cute. Maybe that's what her OnlyFans is about. She being like real ratchet and stuff. And she got her little thing. But I can't get past that bath. Oh my God. Look at
That's how you know you got some good pussy. That's how you know you got some good pussy.
I feel like throwing up. I really feel like throwing up. Just like after the bath water in them feet. Oh my God. What the? And she's 21. 21. What is going on? Get your life together. This is what happened when you get money and you don't have any class or anything like that. This is what happens. You know, you just a mess. Oh my God. I can't watch no more. Anyway. Oh my God. Trinidad says, please everyone be nice. What a mess. Alan says, Meatball, my dad would say two things. They used to rob me with a gun, and a fool and his money soon part. Yeah, that's what I equate Meatball. Meatball is like, you don't got no sense. That's what I equate Meatball, that name to. Robert George says the toilet must be broken. Rosa, eel. That's the face. Eel. What a role model for kids. Now we know why her water be like that. She might be trans. There might be a small Asian man trapped in there somewhere. Stop it. I don't think she trans. She looked like a girl to me. She just don't get no damn sense. And she's kind of nasty. Not kind of, she is nasty. She talking about don't worry about the bath water, worry about the hat or the beanie. Ugh. Oh my God, that I can't get that out. That's like forever ingrained in my brain. Ingrained in my brain. I got one more story, you guys, before I let y'all go. This is, and speaking of trans, this is about a trans girl. There's a young boy, we could say a boy, let me just get to that a student, a trans male, attacks a female student in Oregon high school. It was a planned attack, and this was certainly planned given multiple people were filming. All involved should be suspended, and he should be charged with assault as a male. Identify as you wish. You can hide from your innate sex characteristics. Now, this was posted by Riley Gaines. And she did this twice. Okay? This attack happened twice. And it wasn't a high school. This was in a middle school because she corrected it. This was Hazelbrook Middle School. Now, you see, this is the trans student that pulled her down. Okay? And now he's grabbing her by her head. He attacked her from behind. Apparently, this trans, and this is the problem, and you guys think it's okay. And I said it with this Artemis Lang. Remember that story I covered where the trans student grew up in the town, went to college, and wanted to join a sorority. And half of the sorority or the sorority sisters did not agree for this guy to be in a sorority. But they voted him in anyway, and they sued, tried to overturn it because they didn't feel comfortable with him. But the problem is we have females saying, oh, you look beautiful, you look this, you look that. And they're girlfriends to this boyfriend. Meaning they're friends to this guy. Saying he's included in our squad, our womanhood, our femalehood. So they're thinking, and they're already not right in their mind. So they're thinking, oh, I'm included. So they got, oh, you're gonna beat her up? Oh, beat her up. Let me film it. Oh, you got her good. If I was you, I would smack her or whatever. Because a lot of jealousy, kids, especially females, they're real evil, especially in that age. Evil, they start to be evil in middle school. In high school is very horrible for females. They start to be real evil. Anyway, They probably encouraged this bull BS and they filmed it. So you see somebody standing behind, and this is the trans male, and he gonna pull her by the book bag. And he starts welling on her head. And no one sees the problem with this. Number one, if you're in middle school, why the hell do you have a crop top on like this? This shouldn't be allowed. Who cares if how you identify? Usually they send you home. You can't wear short. I'm pretty sure they have criteria with attire. This is not the criteria you will see as a young lady in middle school. They wouldn't allow this. So why would they allow it on this guy? And he called her a B. This is in middle school. And the girl's crying. Now, what would you do if that was your child? That was your little girl, and she got beat up by a boy. This is not the only incident with this guy. This is not the only incident. They had another incident with him. If I could find it. Let me see if I put it in my bookmarks. So he attacked another kid, actually two of them, in the gym somewhere. And somebody was filming it again. Let me see if I can look it up. Trans. Yeah, I think this is it. They only showing this one video, but it's been more videos of this. They showing this same video. So anyway, It's saying the brutal beatdown captured on video shows that the trans-identified student, a biological male, throwing multiple blows to the female student's head after violently grabbed her hair, yanked her back and forth, and knocked her down flat in the school hallway. And all she was screaming is, "I didn't do anything." And he said, "Touch me again, B," before the trans student walked away. It's unclear what led up to the attack, but many have speculated that it might have been planned given the incident was captured on video. The Tualatin Police Department said on X that they are aware of the incident, but because it involves juveniles, we are unable to further comment. Amy Sosa, a psychologist and activist that fights to safeguard female-only spaces, called the attack sex-based violence. What you are seeing is a large boy who identifies as a girl assaulting a young woman from behind, Sosa wrote. Sosa then called out police or Oregon public schools for aggressively indoctrinating students with radical gender ideology, which has resulted in increased attacks on female students by trans-identified males. Are we not surprised? Oh, you're a male, but you identify as a female, so we're going to accept you. And then usually males, when they go through puberty, they get all crazy anyway. So you putting crazy on top of crazy. If you're a male out there, tell me, was you in your right mind when you were going through puberty? I don't think nobody was. We all was effed up in the head, confused, and they put more confusion on you. That's why it's so important that you have good parents, a good father, and a good mother in the home. While we don't know what motivated the boy to attack this girl, we do know that the School of Oregon aggressively push gender identity ideology in their schools, giving boys the right to violate girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports. I reflect that when boys are entitled to cross girls' boundaries, that is already the encouragement of violence. It follows the more violence against girls will be logical outcome of such policies. And she's calling this sex-based violence. And there's a debate against allowing trans-identified males to invade female-only spaces has been a hot topic across the United States over the past few years. Why is it a hot topic? Because lunacy exists in the United States. You allow for a male to access females in their most vulnerable positions, in the most vulnerable spaces where they're getting dressed, using the bathroom, taking a shower, what have you. Why would I want to be in the same space as a male? And you ain't my man. Even with my husband, I have a space where I could shit in peace and quiet. I don't shit with the bathroom open. I shower. Sometimes I shower with the bathroom open, but most of the time it's closed. Now, and my boys are the age is like, no, you don't come in this bathroom when I'm in here. So why would we allow that? But mainly we have these feminist champions championing this narrative. Oh, you identify so you can be, you are. And it's untrue. I told you guys my son, he came home and told me, and he was very confused. He has a transgender in his classroom for the last 2 years. He's been a transgender student. And he came home really confused. He said, Mommy, there's a boy that called himself a girl. His name is such and such. He has a girl name. And I said, well, was he just joking? Because you know how some guys be like, oh, I'm a girl. You know, that's how boys be acting silly. You know, he was like, no, he wasn't joking. He actually got mad at another kid because another kid called him a boy, you know, referred to him as a boy or he, and he was upset. He's like, I'm not a he, I'm a she, you know. And remember, I just mentioned you have females accepting this. He said, and this happened this year on the playground, the fire pole. If you follow me, you probably heard this story. But on this fire pole, you know how the kids had the fire pole where they slide down and act like they're a fireman. So all the kids was playing on the playground, and my son, he said he was just sitting, just watching the kids play, and there was a bunch of girls over there and him, the transgender. And I was like, and he was like, yeah, they was just taking up the space where the fire pole is where you're supposed to come down. So I just, you know, got out of their way, and because they was crowding up the space and I was trying to play and they was like all in the way. And so he said, I just sat back, and he said the guy, he was dancing. He said his name. He was dancing around the pole. I was like, what do you mean dancing? Like he was doing like this, Mommy. He was doing like this. I was like, he was doing like what? Because my son, he's just in 5th grade. So I'm like, what the is going on? What are you talking about? He was doing like this, Mommy. And he was going around the pole like this. And I was like, what do you mean was he dancing? He was just swinging around the pole. He was like, no, he was going like this around the pole. And all the girls was down, you know, around him. I was like, oh, okay, Cannon. I was like, well, don't pay him no mind. He's just confused. That's what I said. Don't pay him no mind. He's just confused. And I said he probably don't have parents that are, or I said his parents is probably just as confused as he is. And I said, you don't need to hang around him. You don't need to be mean to him either, but just, you know, play with your friends, you know, your boyfriends or whatever that you play with. Just keep that same energy. I was like, you know, that's wrong behavior. You shouldn't do that. I said, he's probably seen that somewhere, and that's not acceptable behavior. Anyway, so I don't know what else I could say to him, because it's like, you don't want your kid to go to school and start talking shit to him. Because it's like, then my son would be getting in the fight about and preaching to him. Because, you know, kids pick up a lot of stuff, but it's just like, it's this indoctrination is, you think it doesn't affect you, or you think you won't be affected by it because, oh, now you'll never experience that. But it's everywhere. And I live our city is pretty conservative, this area where I live in. So it's like I said, and then you have women, liberal, feminist women that's championing this. They're the champions. We got to include everybody, and we got to make them feel good about themselves. And it says the debate against allowing trans-identified males to invade female-only spaces has been a hot topic across the United States over the past few years. Supporters of the transgender policies says that they save trans kids' lives, while critics says that allowing men into women's bathrooms and changing rooms is a safety concern. How are you saving the kid's life just by allowing them to use the bathroom with other girls that make them feel uncomfortable? How's that saving their life? Now, you could say, oh, they could dress up as a female. That will help them affirm their identity. Okay, that's fine. They could dress up as a female. But why would they be allowed in female spaces? You want to confirm their identity. I don't want to confirm their identity if it's going to make me feel unaffirmed. You know what I'm saying? Why do I have to be pushed out of my square because you want to be affirmed? Why? I had that last video of Artemis Langford, I think it was. Someone put a comment saying, "Oh, you just don't want to conform the way I think." Like, no, I don't. Like, what are you talking about? No, I don't. We're not talking about being racist or anything like that. We're not talking about, oh, accepting the person for who they actually are. Like, you're a black person or you're a white person or Asian. I have to accept you for, and that's absolutely right. Because everybody is not made the same. Or accept you for being a homosexual. I do accept you for being I even accept you for being a transgender. But I will not accept you coming into my bathroom while I'm there. And you got a penis. That's one damn thing I'm not going to accept. And if I had a daughter, I wouldn't accept it. I totally wouldn't accept it. I'm sorry. You could call it what you want it, but that's where I draw the line. Let me know in the chat what you think. Trans lunatic and proud. Robert Jordan said he'll probably get tested at some point. They'll say he has learning disabilities, label him as special ed, and there's nothing you could do about it. AZ said, so if a man defended the girl and smacked Buddy, he would have been charged with hitting a girl? I will. CJ said, I haven't gone to Target store in at least 6 years since they started the perverts are welcome in women's bathroom policy. Yeah, it, like I said, since I'm out here, it hasn't really affected me too much. But even, let me see if I got the stuff in my phone. Like now, Target is more like, hey, we're doing non-binary type of spaces. Like you shouldn't, like say for instance, you're in the men's department. Women could shop in the men's department now versus females, or men could shop in the females department. And I'm not talking about the adults, I'm talking about like the kids. And let me just show you what I'm talking about. Because when I was shopping for my kids, and they had several t-shirts. You know how they have the Cat and Jack brand? Here it is. Let's see if I can pull it up. And they were on sale. And I'm thinking like, is this the girls or the boys? And I was really confused about the whole thing. I was so confused whether or not if I was in the girls or the boys department. Now, usually, especially back in the day, they didn't get too crazy about the colors. But let me see if I can pull it up. Here we go. But when I was looking at the colors, I was like, now I'm really confused. Like, what the hell is going on here? But they had this I forget what they're called, but I think they talked about it about 6 years ago, where you could go into Target and they don't want you to feel like you're in female or male spaces. Let me share this with you. Boys section. This is what they got in the boys section. Look at these colors.
Really? Girl colors? I mean, look at this guy though.
And that is kind of cool. But they got a lot. Look, but why would you wear that?
And there's flowers on him, really?
That's what they got in the girls section.
That's
Or boys section. But they're 30%, you see it's 30 to 70% off. That means nobody's buying it. But next year, that's the girls, the boys stuff. Why they got this in the boys section? Like
really?
what boy will wear this?
What gay guy?
You gotta forgive my kids, they crazy. These are not bad. Y'all don't like these? Those cargo pants?
No.
Why they got those over there? What's that? Wine color? Oh, what about these? These ain't bad.
Wait, I don't think we already. It looks like we already. Did we? No.
Do you like this?
Yeah, I like that.
Cannon, do you want to pick one of these hoodies? It's black hoodies over here too.
I like the camel.
Oh, you like the camouflage? Okay. So this is. So, but you see the girl stuff, and this was in the boys section. All this was in the boys section. Orange. Why would a boy wear this? Would you put your boy in this? This color. I wouldn't mind that color so much if it wasn't this. I don't know. I just don't know what they're thinking. I guess they're trying to make everybody gender fluid. these shirts was like really baffling to me. And they were 30 to 70% off. Who will actually buy that? A girl will. Like girls will wear this. Like this tie-dye pinkish yellow shirt. But I wouldn't dare put my son in that. Put it in the chat. Would you put your son in these clothes? Look, they got dinosaur and they all pink with flowers and shit on them. This is why our kids are confused. That's why you got that boy running around beating up kids. He's beating up children because he's mad because he's a boy and he want to be a girl. I don't know, or he just confused or got some anger issues. You know, but this is what we got to deal with. Okay, so this is an update for that assault. Let me see. Let me share this with you. This is like the parents teacher conference at the middle school. So basically, she's saying that they have a progressive policy for violence. So I mean, I guess that's with any schools. Now, if you bring a weapon, that's a zero tolerance. But I think they have a zero tolerance for violence. I mean, and zero tolerance mean you get out of school, in school suspension if you get a fight, then it progressed to out of school suspension, then you get expelled or what have you. But they don't just flat out suspend you if it was a non-violent offense. It sounds like the kid that committed this, act, he's been doing this. He goes around doing this. So I would like to think that they might be negligent. Like if kids keep on getting hurt, if she was like hurt, this might be a reason to sue the school because he's just going around beating up people. It says a petition has been filed with the juvenile court and the charges are pending. In the light of the Oregon records law pertaining to juveniles, we are not able to comment further regarding this particular youth. The Washington County Juvenile Department remains committed to enhancing community safety and breaking the cycle of delinquency through the effective evidence-based intervention practice and holding youth accountable for their behavior. September the 27th, in obvious anticipation of the community blowback, the Tigard-Tualatin School District held an emergency meeting about student safety and well-being. They had the principals and district superintendent present. And, they said if in response to one parent, if the district was prepared for a lawsuit to be filed against it. At one point during the question, as appeared, the father became visibly upset and stormed out the room. The heated back and forth he was having with Smith was censored by the school in its recording of the forum. Smith, along with some principals of the district schools, also noted that there was a trend among students of committing misbehaviors or starting fight for explicit purpose of uploading footage on social media for likes. While they refused to specifically comment on the incident at Hazelbrook during the forum, it was heavily implied that that may have been the case. In 2013, the district became the first in Washington County to introduce gender-neutral bathrooms at all its secondary schools in the effort to be more inclusive. See, I just don't agree with that. This all inclusivity and all this bullshit, and you just not really concerned about the people's girl safety. You're not concerned about girl safety. You just like shit on little females, shit on the females, little girls that's growing up, and they're gonna think this act of violence is normal. Any interaction with a man, they're gonna think that shit is normal, and it's not. And they're supposed to be role models. School's supposed to be safe. So not only you have the threat of violence because of gun violence, you got some kids, and I wouldn't say gun violence is running rampant in schools, but They do have school shootings. They probably have like maybe 4 or 5 a year school shootings that occurs. And you got to worry about that. Now, not only you got to worry about that, you got to worry about being assaulted in the female's locker room where you're supposed to be safe. And this is school. And you wonder why morale is going low and why kids don't really want to go to school, why they act up. You got some people that's just, you know, how one bad apple ruins the bunch. That's what's happening in these schools. And then you have these teachers and these administrators making these policies that do not work. They do not work. So, anyway, it's insane. Well, you guys, thank you for staying with me for this long. You guys want to like, subscribe, and share this video. You want to make sure you share this channel with your friends. I'm going to be online tomorrow around 5:30, so stay tuned for that. And you guys, I'm sending all my good to you. You guys have a great evening.